Ah, man, it's been a while since I've been really interested, in talking. It's been a minute, let me see something. Can I make this smaller? No? Okay, I guess I just got to give myself space and move back. Man, hip hop, battle rap, anything you could possibly think of when it comes to this culture. It's been crazy. Shout out to Surf. Surf is home. Shout out to Max B. Max is home. Rest in peace to King Von, man. I don't have a lot of friends. I really don't. There's plenty of people out there who would say, yeah, no, I know BattleThon, or I know Zaire, I know Mr. Davenport, but I don't have a lot of friends. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to stuff like this, I understand, because the one or two people, maybe even three people, salute. G-Man Venezuela, salute, salute. What's the vibes, man? Shout out to him. Make sure y'all go and follow G-Man G-Man Valenzuela. Valenzuela. Pardon me, brother. You heard? So, the few people that I know who I can actually trust, who I know if I call, they're gonna pick up right away, or they're gonna call me right back as soon as it's over. I know that I would come to bat for them the same way they would come to bat for me. So I understand. I totally understand what's going on, right? So here we got Little Durk, all right? Devontae Banks, okay? This is Durk. Devontae Banks is Durk, okay? All right, 1 second, let me get this situation. Okay, here we go, perfect. So, Devontae Banks is also known as Little Durk, rather. Right now, we all know that he has a federal case in the Metropolitan Detention Center. He's being held in LA because this is where the crime was committed. The crime was committed in LA, they're holding him in LA. Trying to see where this thing is at so I can give you guys something more consistent. Pardon me. Man. Okay, here we go. That's better. That's better, right? So, okay, here, let me put this. Okay, that looks, maybe I should do it like, like this. This is fire. This is fire. Okay, this is better. Okay. Durk has pleaded not guilty, of course, because who wouldn't plead not guilty, right? What started this whole thing is the death of King Von, right? I'm speaking to you guys. I'm not gonna talk to you guys from a street perspective yet. I'm gonna break this down to you how they're breaking it down through the courts. A lot of the times, when they say certain terms, they use certain words, it throws us off because we don't know the legal terms, the words. They say certain things. The courts, when they say the word the courts said, it's not really the courts. It's not the judge saying it. So you understand? There's words they use, so I'm gonna break it down to you. So King Von was killed in 2020. We're in 2026 right now, right? November 6, 2020, King Von was killed outside a nightclub in Atlanta. A person associated with the rapper Quando Rondo, whose legal name is Taekwon Bowman, was accused of killing King Von, right? So King Von gets killed November 6, 2020, outside of Atlanta nightclub. Quando Rondo, and his associate of Quando Rondo, is accused of killing Von, right? The case against the alleged shooter, Timothy Lil 10 Leaks, was ultimately dropped, right? So right there alone, now we can kind of get over to the street side, right? Right there, Imagine somebody clipping your best friend, right? Imagine somebody clipping your right-hand man. And yeah, you live in life, you got things you gotta do. But then, granted, if you are a soldier, a warrior, you wanna catch your ops, you wanna slide on them. I get it. But imagine the shooter gets away and you know he was the shooter. Oh, God. It's heartbreaking, right? Okay, so now, check this out. According to federal prosecutors, Durk blamed Rondo's side for Von's death, and eventually he wanted revenge, right? The prosecutors is that the government says Durk essentially put a bounty on Quando Rondo. The alleged objective was to kill Rondo, not his cousin. That distinction becomes extremely important to the case, right? Quando Rondo's associate, Lil Tim, goes out and gets Von, right? This is who they're blaming. They're blaming Lil Tim for clipping King Von. They're saying that Lil Tim gets away. They say that Durk puts the bounty on Rondo, but winds up getting the cousin. You understand what I'm saying? So I would be mad too. And this is another reason why I don't have a lot of friends, because when I need to get something done, I don't rely on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dudes. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 dudes. I'd rather put myself in a situation, right? And nobody know about what's going on. So by the time, or if, let's say if I wind up getting caught, if I get jammed up, when they go and asking questions to everybody, they're gonna be so confused. The police will not be able to get information from anybody on my side. You know why? Because Zaire is gonna make sure he does the mission himself. I'm a loner. I'm not out clubbing with dudes. I'm not out drinking, popping bottles. We're not buying VIP sections. We're not talking about the latest Chrome Hearts and Michael Jordans and the latest Nikes and the deal. I don't care about none of that. That's what allows me to focus on my goals at hand, right? Keep the circle really small. Even if it's your hand, keep the circle small, okay? Let's move on. On August 19th, 2022, now this is just 4 years ago, Rondo and his cousin, Savia, Lil Pub, were robbed in Los Angeles, right? According to prosecutors, members / associates of OTF traveled from Chicago to California. Now, we got, the technology is out there, y'all. It's all type of technology out in the world. Why would he think that it's okay? Why would, in any situation, why would he think that it's okay for him to just pull up to Chicago? Why, Durk, why would it be okay for you to just pull up to Chicago? Pull up to Los Angeles, Durk, huh? You're not supposed to fly. When you go on missions like that, and it's time to put it, you don't fly. You don't fly. You get in the whip. You drive to where you gotta go do your mission. When you gotta do a mission and it's not in your state, in your local area, in your surroundings, even the tri-state, you drive to wherever you gotta do the hit. You don't get on the plane, because that's how they're gonna track you. That's how they're gonna get you. There's hundreds of cameras in the airport, thousands as a matter of fact. Facial recognition, all of that. But I'm not here to shoot down Durk. I'm just here to inform people moving forward. I don't want anyone to commit crime, but in the Bible it does say eye for an eye. So if he slid for his friend, I don't blame him. Let these white devils do what they gotta do. If they feel like they gotta get him, then do y'all job and do y'all job if y'all feel like y'all gotta get him. But I'm not blaming Durk. I don't blame him. Because like I said, when it comes to me, I don't have all the friends that Durk has. I don't got all the friends that Rondo has. When it comes to a person like me, I don't have friends. So the few friends that I do have, if you hit one of them, I'm sliding on a quiet tip. Why? Because nobody really knows me. I'm not out and about. I'm not out there talking to everybody, right? Let me just do this. They're gonna walk. Everybody's wondering. Everybody's wondering. Everybody wants to know. Everybody wants to know. So I'm gonna ask you guys. Just curious, right? I just want to ask you guys, how do you guys feel about the situation? Because I know he has a great team, legal team, a great legal defense team. He did put a lot of money up, and I understand that a lot of the times when you know the law, you may not necessarily have to put so much as far as finances into your legal team if you already know the law. Because now, if you know the law, you're working side by side with your legal defense and you're telling them certain things. A lot of the times people get caught up in crime so much that when they go to jail, they get so comfortable, they don't sit up in that law library and study. They think it's all right to just sit there and just, oh, let me just, I'll be all right. I'll be good. I put bread up. I spent 20 on a lawyer. I spent 30 on a lawyer. That's not enough. That's not enough. Sometimes that's not enough. You gotta understand your case, learn your case. The good thing about Durk is Durk got the money, but now, even with that being said, you still got people that's turning on him. That's another reason why this situation for him, I don't like it, because there's no way it's no way, man. It just sucks, man. But anyway, let's keep going. The government says they tracked down Rondo. You know what I mean? So Durk's OTF team tracked down Rondo for hours before eventually attacking his vehicle at a gas station near Beverly Center, right? This is in Los Angeles. At least 18 rounds were fired. Quando Rondo survived. His cousin, Robinson, was killed. So this is the part where this is like a revenge, allegedly. All right, so allegedly OTF members hit the wrong person. They were supposed to get Quando Rondo after them 18 shots was fired. They didn't get him. They wound up getting his cousin. That's another thing too. A lot of the times when people is going and they sliding and they going to do these moves, a lot of the times they get so excited as soon as they're getting ready to go do the hit. You could be 2 blocks away, and these dudes, they get so excited, and it's so apparent that you're doing things that you don't notice that you're doing, that your target is gonna notice. It could be anything. It could be anything. When you're on edge like that, like I'm pretty sure Quando Rondo was, you're usually paying attention. Another thing is that why would somebody think that it's okay? Why would y'all let go 18 rounds and y'all didn't hit the target? You know what's so crazy? Even if they did hit Quando Rondo, right? Even if they did hit Quando Rondo and they finished him, right? Unalived him. I feel like somebody would have still told. I just feel like somebody would have still told. I feel like somebody would have still told. You know what I mean? Because it's a scary thing. When the shooters is telling on you and you're the one putting money in their pocket, you didn't tell on them. It's plenty of times where we've seen, oh, such and such did this move, and then look at John Gotti and Sammy the Bull. Most feared hitmen in Mafia history, next to Tony the Greek Salerno, the Butcher, next to the Boogeyman, right? There was plenty of people who were dangerous. But look what happened with Gotti, huh? And Sammy the Bull. Gotti talked so much on the wiretaps, right? Sammy knew this, but Gotti spoke so much on the wiretaps, he gave people up. He tried to reroute that circle of energy and say, you know what? No, that's Sammy. Gotti wanted to take Sammy out when he knew it was close to the time that them boys were gonna come pick him up. Gotti wanted Sammy out the way. You know why? Your shooter knows all the information. Your shooter knows everything. But unbeknownst thing is, he was doing it intentionally. He was intentionally snitching because Gotti was intentionally snitching because he knew they were listening on the phone. And when you are in that lifestyle and you guys go a certain time, following code, following structure, you know you're not supposed to say certain things on the phone. You know meetings are to be taken in person. And look at Durk. Durk standing on 10, doing what he got to do. Durk is standing tall. He ain't telling on nobody. But guess what? They gonna flip on Durk. That's a fact. 18 shots, and y'all only got one person? Lord, this is my thing too. Real quick before I continue reading what these devils done put up. I'm not shooting from far away. You give me a bag, I'm walking up on that. I don't want to. You heard? Because now, if I finish that, I'm spinning back. I need a little bit more chicken. Yeah, I did that professional. I need more chicken. You understand? One thing that I'm gonna say this real quick, right? I'm not really a basketball fan. Don't care about basketball, care about football. Come to boxing, I could do that. When it comes to that, I do that. If somebody, I always said this growing up because I didn't like basketball, you give me the right bag for LeBron James and tell me, if the mob was to come to me and say, hey, we don't want Philadelphia winning. We want them to make it to the playoffs. We'll give you a bag. We got about 30,000 for you. I probably wouldn't be that low, but we got 100K for you. We got the best lawyers in the country. We're not saying you're gonna get caught, but we got you covered, kid. You all right? And I say, okay. Que se dice? Un braccio. Fratello. You know what I mean? That means fratello, my brother, my buddy, and Sicilian. So I'm taking LeBron out. LeBron, you can go. I'm walking down on him. I got a bag. Why would you miss the 18 shots? Y'all travel all the way from Chicago. All the way from Chicago. Y'all travel all the way from Chicago to go to LA, lay the drop on a nigga, and then miss him? Oh my God. Yo, listen, like I said, Durk, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Durk. I don't blame Durk. But I know for sure, you know, because that's another thing too. When your shooters go on missions, and when allegedly his shooters, when their shooters go on missions and they complete missions successfully, you reward them, things of that nature. But for the most part, you're not looking forward to that day where they miss a target. I don't think Durk thought they would miss the target. I don't think Durk thought that. I think Durk had it in his head. They about to go there and they about to get this over with. They about to they about to finish the job off. You know what I mean? They about to finish the job off, right? C Double, shout out to you, C Double. He said, yeah, the Fed's trying to get a big fish. Yeah, that's a fact. That's absolutely a fact. And it's crazy too, because if Durk wanted to, Durk could give up a bunch of information and they'll let him go. But I honestly feel like Durk is gonna stand on too. I feel like he's gonna stand on it. So Durk allegedly ordered a hit on Quando. The shooters attempted to kill Rondo. They missed. They hit his cousin instead, right? The government believes that Durk is involved because prosecutors aren't only simply saying Durk was friends with the shooters. They're trying to establish that Durk was the person who ordered it, financed it, and facilitated the operation. The government has pointed to several categories of evidence. And this is why I said, if you ever have work to put in, if you're not already in that state because you reside there and you know the lay of the land, you know the area, you don't ever take a plane. You don't ever purchase anything with credit cards. You don't ever go into a store and use your card to purchase anything. That's not how you do things. If you're going on a mission, you drive. If it's a mile away, shit, let's walk. Let's get on the bus. Let's pretend for the duration of this mission, when we're going to put in work, let's pretend that we don't really have money. Let's pretend that we don't have bread. Our friend is not a millionaire. Let's pretend we are completely broke and we have nothing but each other and the hammers that we're using to go take this dude out. That's the problem with a lot of people. People get too comfortable. 3 people pled guilty already. I would have the same defense as Smirkio. Yeah, man, like this is bad for him, man. I feel bad. This is why I don't have a lot of friends. This is why I don't have friends. Why, you need something? Huh? What you need? No, it's fine. They can't see anything. So, yeah, man, like I said, it's another reason why I don't have a lot of friends, man, because it's sad that he is like I said, the Bible says eye for an eye. The Quran says eye for an eye. These are things that have been handed down to us. No matter how much they've whitewashed it, no matter how much they've changed things up, eye for an eye is something that we believe in. Now, according to the law, of course, they're not going to allow us to do what we want to do because they set it up like that. But I believe in eye for an eye. Once again, we 22 minutes in, I respect Durk. I'm not shooting him down. I don't want to see him locked up for the rest of his life. I want him home because I know he has a different mindset now, dealing with what he's dealing with, and he knows more than what we know. Okay. Prosecutors say several participants flew from Chicago to California shortly before the shooting. That was foolish. That was foolish. That was foolish. Right? I'm not flying. I just said that to y'all. Why would y'all fly? Why would y'all fly? I'm not doing that. I'm not flying. Get on the train. Get on the bus. Drive. You heard? Use cash. They've been showing us this type of stuff in movies forever. We could go all the way back to Total Recall. Arnold had on the mask with the joint. How long you gonna be going? 2 weeks. Remember that? Arnold was ready. And that was in the 80s that movie came out. How 40 years later, we are not smart enough to realize that when you go and you do something like this, especially when you're dealing with the system, you have to be prepared for anything that's possible to happen bad. Murphy's Law, anything bad that can happen, most likely will. Nobody was prepared. They was too comfortable. Moving on. They say an OTF associate coordinated flights for the alleged shooters. The government also says Durk himself traveled to California. Now, this is my thing. This is my thing. Durk, I'm gonna be honest with you. That was foolish on your behalf. No way the shooters is in the same state that I'm in while the incident is going down. No, no, no. I'm halfway across the country. I'm in Italy, outside the country. I'm not doing this. This is why it's good, men, to not have too many friends. This is why it's good to keep your circle small, keep it tight, and protect it. You understand? You don't got to be around your friends all day, popping bottles, spending money at the club for them to be your friends, okay? Because in life, the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the more you realize we don't have time for that. How am I gonna be doing all of this building and succeeding if I'm in your face all day? And I don't like men, so that's a whole nother issue, right? Shout out to the real C-Double. Salute C-Double. C-Double, I should have invited you on. We could have did the group live. You heard? I should have invited you on. C-Double said from what I seen, Durk had his family there already and told them not to book any flights, but they did it anyway. Aha, you see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about? Shout out to C-Double, the real C-Double 24. Make sure y'all go and follow him, subscribe to him, look at his content. Great battle rapper. I got a chance to film him versus Chef Trez, okay? Shout out to you, C-Double. So look at that, right? Durk never gave them money for the sake of, especially digitally, you don't want to see the transactions. He never handed them cash. Why? Because those serial numbers go back to a lot of things when it comes to if one of them were an informant. If one of them was an informant and Durk, unbeknownst to Durk, if he would have gave them money, that would have sealed it. That would have sealed it, because they would have took those notes and they would have took their serial numbers and followed them back to wherever they came from. So shout out to Durk, the fact that he didn't do that. But shout out to C Double again for bringing up the fact that he told them not to book flights and they booked it anyway. This is another reason, going back to why I say you must do things yourself. It don't matter if you got the money. You know why? Because when you have the money and you put in that work yourself, that's when the prosecutor and the judge will least expect. Even the people, who gonna believe that Lil Durk, a multi-millionaire, shaved his face, shaved his dreads, hopped in a dirty, beat down 1999 Ford Taurus, and went on a mission to go drill something on behalf of Thon? Nobody would ever believe that. That's exactly why we are sitting here today. And like I said, I'm not shooting down Durk. I'm just saying that people, we have to be smarter. If I had all that money, I'm not moving. I'm putting in the work myself. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Just because I know nobody would ever believe it. Nobody would ever believe that. What? He did what? No, Durk didn't do that. He didn't shave his head bald. He didn't shave his beard. Throw on a beanie with some dirty Levi jeans, a dirty hoodie, and a little single $15 backpack. Nobody would ever think that, right? Imagine if Durk would have did that. We probably wouldn't know. We would assume, like we always do, it's the age of social media. And because everybody's a detective now, listening to lyrics and putting things together, you know what I mean? People probably would have tried to assume, because this is what we do already. But had he did it that way, nobody would never. There was no way you could pinpoint and say, oh yeah, Durk did that. No, you don't know. You don't know. Oh man, so let me see. All right. So prosecutors allege, right? They say that money connected to Durk, OTF, was used to facilitate the operation. C Double says, I see it as a setup to get Durk because they couldn't get Thon. And his peoples missed, and Durk was cutting them off afterwards. I could see through the BS. Yeah, that's I could see it that way too. I could definitely see it that way. I know the feds want somebody bad. They really want to clean up Chicago, and there's a lot of bodies. It's a lot of bodies, unsolved bodies in Chicago. Granted, you know, the internet has somehow solved a lot of those, or a portion of them. I can't say a lot, but there's still a lot of unsolved bodies. And not only just Chicago, but other places too, because you know bullets and hammers travel just like people in roaches. So, yeah, I could see that. They definitely want to get Durk because they couldn't get Thon. They couldn't get Thon, and Thon was a demon. Thon was putting in pain, but they couldn't get him. They want Durk. So there's another question. Does anybody think that I want to see what other information they're going to bring up, because if there's no proof of him paying, if they don't have any digital evidence, if they can't physically prove, fuck substantiate, because substantiation is not enough. To substantiate is nothing. That's you just gathering. You're assuming basically. All right. So no substantiation. Is there hard, solid evidence? If they had hard, solid evidence off of serial numbers, off of whatever, banknotes, as they like to call them, then I could see, I wouldn't even be doing this live, because I would say, yeah, they're probably going to get them. Another thing that the shooters probably fear, now it's one thing to plead guilty to killing somebody or attempting to kill somebody. It's another thing to plead guilty and say, yeah, he gave me the money or he financed it, all right? If they're not openly doing that, it's gonna be hard for the prosecution to beat Durk. If they're not openly admitting that, yes, he gave me money to come down here and slide, then it's quiet. If they can't prove it, then it's quiet. I feel like he will walk. Come on, let's continue this. So they saying that Vonnie was seen purchasing ski masks. Wow, he's on camera purchasing ski masks, arranging transportation, paid for a hotel, and used a credit card in Durk's name. Come on, bro. This is what I'm saying, man. All that money your homeboy got, and y'all using credit cards, debit cards, digital transactions. Boy, I don't even put my real. If I got to get on a Greyhound, you understand? I don't even put my real name. You know why? Because you don't have to. Greyhound is not checking for your real name. You don't gotta put your real name. If you get on a bus, a mega bus, Adirondack Trail, any one of them buses, you don't have to put your real name. What's the name ticket? Amtrak ticket. You don't have to put your real name. I've been traveling on Amtrak and Greyhounds since 2005, 2006. I'm in my mid-30s right now. I've been traveling on Greyhounds and Amtraks for over 20 years. I was on that coach bus, you know what I mean, red and tan, going to see my father in Manhattan, 10, 11 years old. You understand? So this is a system that's been put in place where if you know, you know. The fact that they did all of this, I don't want to say they deserve to go to jail. Because I don't want anyone to go to jail. Is not a good place. It's not a place for 75 to 90% of the people walking the earth. This is why the people who actually go through it and make it, they make it for a reason. You understand? Not everybody can make it. It says that in the Bible. Everybody's not going to make it. Everyone is not going to go. Shout out to Benny the Butcher. You know what I mean? So here we go with the text messages. It says one of the messages prosecutors have highlighted as a Durk allegedly telling an associate, don't book no flights under no names involved with me. That has nothing to do. Now look, they could take that and say, oh yeah, why would he tell them that in the text message? Prosecutor would be like, yeah, because he was letting them know, listen, clean up your tracks. Don't leave no evidence behind. No, that could also mean don't book nothing in my name because this isn't a business trip. Y'all out here on a personal trip, having fun, doing whatever y'all doing. That could be the defense for that. It's so easy to break these devils down. It's so easy. It's so easy. Y'all don't got proof. Just because I texted them and told them don't book nothing in my name. No, I gave y'all, right? So y'all got money. Y'all don't need to book nothing in my name, right? But they did it anyway. Still got caught. Stupid, right? Prosecutors interpret that text, right, as evidence that Durk knew about the operation and wanted distance. He basically wanted to distance himself from the travel arrangements. I wouldn't have even been in the state, to be honest with you. Like I said, I wouldn't be there. If I knew this was going on, I won't be around. I mean, like I said, I'm not the type of person to pay for service. If I'm gonna put in work, I'm just doing it myself. But I'm not paying nobody just so they can still do what I told them not to do. Because now let's get even dirtier, right? Let's get even dirtier. Durk wouldn't be in this situation if he took out the same dudes he sent. How crazy is that? That's a double slide. So you tell them don't book nothing in your name. They don't listen to you. They still do it. They slide. 18 shots come out. They miss the target. They hit the target's cousin. They made it spicy, right? So now Rondo can go and tell the feds, which I'm pretty sure he did, scared as hell, yo, that was because of what's the name? The Thon situation. They trying to kill me. I believe it's Durk. I seen the people's face. That's probably exactly what Rondo said. I mean, come on. Nigga, they tried to kill you. And you can't do nothing to defend yourself because the man got money. And he's moving around and he got shooters. And you know Chicago not playing around, right? Right? Look at that, right? The government says surveillance footage helped them establish the movements of the alleged participants before and during the shooting. Yo, bro. Yo, double. Bro, there's so many ways they could have went about this. Oh my God, it's so many different ways I could think about it. But like I said, man, I would have did it the old school way. I would have shaved everything off. Everything would have been gone. Dirty Levi's, dirty. I don't give a damn if I gotta walk past a homeless person and say, let me see your sneakers. Shh. Pass him some money, put it in the cup, and slide out. That homeless person ain't getting up to tell nobody nothing. And by the time, if they see, even if they saw that on camera and said, yo, we seen the individual that looked like Mr. Big Fella, aka Durk, swapping sneakers with a homeless person, right? Even if, by the time they try to go back to that area and find that homeless person done moved across the country. We already know how homeless people are. Crackheads, drug addicts, they're across the country. You ain't gonna catch them, right? Prosecutors have also relied on extensive digital evidence gathered during the investigation, right? And that's another thing too, like I said, with technology. When you know that they can, because for the last 10 years, I mean, rest in peace to Steve Jobs. When Steve Jobs was alive, they were at a point in technology where they couldn't get the information from your iPhone unless they unlocked it. Steve Jobs was at war with the government because Steve Jobs refused to give up basically part of our freedom as consumers, as customers, as American citizens. And they didn't like that. There was a case in Florida where a young man, it was a shootout. A young man who happened to be the alleged shooter got killed, I believe, or they took him. No, they killed him. But they wanted to go onto his phone. Apple was on his side. Apple was on his side. Right, wrong, or indifferent. We're not gonna let you get into that phone. Now, it's a totally different game now. So why would they do all of this stuff digitally? Why are you using cards? Why you have your phone, especially your main phone? If you got girls in there you talking to, you got your homeboys you talking to, you might be on your main phone talking to your mom, your dad, whoever you talking to, family. Why would you bring your main phone with you? I'm leaving it at home. That phone is staying at home. And listen, I'm not even getting a phone. I don't even need a phone. I don't even want a phone. I don't even want a phone. I'm not taking the phone with me on a mission. You're going on a mission. Why would you do that? They can track everything in one area. They can track everything. So now look, essentially what they decide. Being associated with the people who committed the shooting isn't enough. The government has to prove the element of the federal charges beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable is not enough. It's not enough. The court says that, the law says that, and the judge is saying that. Y'all gotta prove it to me because this is just not enough, right? Prosecutor says Durk was behind the operation. Defense says they're completely wrong. Durk's lawyers are essentially presenting a wrong man trying to turn Durk in to mine when the evidence doesn't actually establish that he ordered the shooting. Once again, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. During opening statements on the 24th, right, today, defense attorneys Marissa Goldberg argued that Durk is and the prosecutors are mischaracterizing the evidence, right? One of the defense's major targets is Kevon Grant, OTF Vonnie, right? Dude is wild, man. Getting ski mad. You on camera by man. You make fool your make dice. Man, I would have went to Walmart and bought a t-shirt, man. Go buy a beanie and a bag of chips. They gonna be like, Your Honor, he just went to Walmart to go get a bag of trail mix and a hat. You would never expect it. While training in the hood, sometimes is no good. Sometimes we need to go and get trained by the same devils that try to take us out, whether that's the military, the government. Sometimes we need that because it makes us think smarter. It makes us move smarter because this was foolish. This was fool. Vonnie, you are a fool. I would smack, if I saw, if I would smack. Vonnie, what's wrong with you, man? Yeah, I don't care how much credit y'all give somebody for being a shooter. You's a fool. You's a fool. And that's exact. God got a plan for everybody. All right? Vonnie is a fool. He's dumb. I don't care how much hits you did, how many bodies you got. There's death all throughout the Bible, okay? People was dying left and right in the Bible, and that's one of our most sacred books that we got. You understand me? So all of that means nothing. When you make foolish mistakes, somebody got to tell you, you stupid. You're dumb. So anyway, cooperating witnesses. This could be one of the most important parts in the entire trial. Several alleged OTF associates have pled guilty and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. Now, this is the thing with that, before we continue on. If they're agreeing to cooperate with the prosecutors, they understand that they're going to have to go inside. Unless these prosecutors give them a way to get off scot-free, right? Which is dangerous, right? Now, look at this, America. Look at this, America. Would you want to sentence the man that ordered the hits and watch his shooters go free, even though you know as a potential juror that they did kill that person? And then would you look at the prosecutor and say, damn, you're willing to send this dude to jail for the rest of his life because he allegedly financed it, but you're willing to let these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people go who let off 18 shots and killed somebody just so you can get this one person? As a citizen, I would absolutely be offended by that if I wasn't a juror. That's another thing, jurors. With social media nowadays, it's so hard for the jurors not to know exactly what's going on because it's all out there for us to see. It's all out there for us to see. So look, if these dudes cooperate, if they don't get off and get out of jail, they're going to get killed in prison. There's no way that a case of this stature, right? We've been watching this for years. There's no way a case of this stature that has just now gone to trial, people are not paying attention. People in prison are paying attention to this. People in county jails paying attention to this. People all across the world is paying attention to this. Why? Because he is a big deal. Durk is a big deal. Thon was a big deal. He made OTF a big deal. So now, if these dudes think that they're gonna cooperate against Durk and try to walk away scot-free, they're either gonna get clipped on the street or somebody's gonna get them in prison. And I'm not saying it's gonna be one of Durk's people. It could be a fan. It could be a fan. A fan will peel your cat back just for the love of it because they know you did wrong. You did wrong. And any of them OTF members that's gonna tell, they did wrong. If I tell it myself, hey, that's me. This is why I say it don't pay to put in work with other people. I'd rather do it by myself because you can't trust anybody but yourself. Can't trust anybody. He totally stupid nigga. Don't pay for nothing in my name. Don't book for nothing in my name. Niggas don't listen, they book in his name. I would have absolutely did a double back and I would have got them clipped. Simple as that. Now answer that question, y'all. If Durk would have clipped every single one of them that took that trip out there after they did the shooting, do y'all think Durk will be in this situation? Please put it in the comment section. And shout out to Jenna Brent. Put that in the comment section. Durk would have did a double bounty. If he would have put the bounty on Quando and then said, okay, I got a backup team. Once they done with that, clip all of them. Nobody would ever expect it. You would never expect it. You know why? Because that's one of the best scenarios in the world. Who is gonna tell that the shooters got shot? What I tell you, it's too good. The witnesses hope they got everything lined up. No, but now he got to defend himself. Yeah, Durk got to defend. Durk is good, though. Durk, I feel like he's going to get off. I feel like he is. And if he don't, I'm going to feel for him, man. Because like I said, prison ain't for it. Man, don't nobody want to be locked up. Now, granted, he's still going to have some money left. Still going to have some money left. Of course. You're going to have money left. But what good is all of that if you locked away from society? What you gonna do? Spend it on the $55 commissary buy? uh, uh, what you gonna get? A 35-pound package? You know what I mean? Depending on where you at, man. Listen, man. I don't want that for him, man. I definitely don't, man. I don't want that for him. The defense will say these people are criminals facing serious prison sentences. They're cooperating because they want to save themselves. And that's true for the most part. Um, they want to save themselves. And like I said, there's no honor. It's no honor. There's none whatsoever. This is why it's either you when things like that happen, like I said, I know something happened to me. I'm not thinking who's gonna slide for me. If something happened to some, I'm not thinking who's slide for me. I got kids. I got a wife. I got a family. If something, and I tell her this all the time. If something was to happen to my kids, there's nothing else for me to talk about outside of her. Maybe Mama Love, because Mama Love know my heart. She knows I'm a savage. When it comes to defending my name, my kids, my family, Mama Love knows how I give it up. She knows. It's just sad, man, because I just couldn't let nobody else do what for me, what I feel needs to be done. And like, I don't take nothing away from Durk. I don't take nothing away from Durk. And I know there's plenty of people out there who pays. A lot of people who want revenge on people. They're old. They can't really do this themselves, so they pay the hitman, pay the shooter, the assassino. So, but me personally, I'm good, man. I'll just do it myself to avoid all of this because, come on, Durk. Damn, man. How old is Durk, man? Come on, man. You got to be a few years younger than me, man. Damn. So, and there also, a judge recently ruled that prosecutors can use lyrics from a song called Piss Me Off, right? The government argues that certain lyrics, the same thing happened with Young Thug. The same thing happened with Young Thug, where they wanted to bring in lyrics, right? And when we seen that happen, we also seen major legal structures across the country where certain people were saying, hey, you can't use art against this person because they were expressing themselves. And when you express yourselves through art, there's no relatability to it being real in life. It's just a feeling, it's just an expression. There's no direct correlation to that. And this is why the prosecutor on that it's gonna be hard for them because it's like, so what? So because I said something, I said things similar to this in plenty of other songs. How many songs do you talk about catching bodies, robbing somebody, hitting somebody with a shank, stacking paper, hitting your chick, having a chick throw the drop on you, your man back door. They done, that's what drill in Chicago's whole thing. That's all they talked about. Von talked about riding, sliding up on people, dude in the car, he didn't even expect it, his shorty in the passenger seat. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. You can't, that's what's gonna be hard for the prosecutor, right? Rap lyric, and this is, look what I said, right? The following line, as I'm saying it to you, the defense argues that rap lyrics are artistic expression and shouldn't be as literal admissions of criminal conduct. You can't. Exactly. You see what I'm saying, C double? Because we're dealing with white people who don't even really understand our culture still to this day. They finance hip hop. They finance our culture. And as much as they want to be like us and they want to try to get our swag and understand us, they still don't understand us. That's why the defense fucked up. I mean, the prosecutors messed up and they gave the wrong song, right? They gave the wrong song. We all know that's the wrong song. But these white people don't know no better. And I know these white folks are gonna look at this and say, hey, But guys, but it's the true white folks. Y'all don't know our culture like that. As much as you want to know, you don't know enough, and you never will. Unless you plan on going undercover, and even then, we still don't trust you. Allowed to be in certain areas when your skin is too pale. The same exact way, we're not allowed to be in certain areas when our skin is too dark. You heard? We need to start this type of stuff. I know that there's an opposition of color to the music boardroom. We got to make sure that we keep them out as much as possible. They're only good for financing. They're only good for financing. If you're not a Machine Gun Kelly, if you're not one of them artists that we can say, oh yeah, no, he's with us. Leave them alone. Don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't. I just can't. But whatever. This is important as far as the lyrics go because the judge has not allowed prosecutors to introduce every piece of Durk's music they wanted. Because it's too much. Were excluded because the court viewed them as improper propensity rather than proof of specific crime. Right, because you bringing in music, you expect the courtroom, because you know a jury of his peers. Is it really a jury of his peers? I don't know. I didn't go in the room. I just know I listen to a lot of audios. I do more listening than I do watching because I can listen to you and get the idea of what you're saying and visualize everything, right? That's how I do. Especially when I'm working throughout the day. I need audio and dialogue in the background, right? So when these white folks are listening to this music in the courtroom, they're listening to it like, oh, this just sounds like a bunch of hoopla. This is the regular jungle music. They talking about shooting and killing each other. So there's no direct correlation, like I just said. And this is exactly what the judge is telling them. Intensity, this doesn't directly correlate to anything. I'm not letting this in. Okay, so the core federal case includes 3 major charges / categories, right? Count 1, conspiracy, which is conspiracy to commit. The government alleges Durk conspired with others to carry out the murder for hire scheme, right? Of course, conspiracy. Conspire, conspiracy, right? Count 2, murder for hire resulting in death. So now the murder for hire resulting in death would have been Quando if they got Quando, but they missed Quando, they got his cousin, right? Which is the heart of the case. This is what they're trying to put. You know, they'll have several charges. It could be 15 charges. I've seen this happen. You commit one crime, and then before that, or even after, when they're trying to catch you, or in the process of them trying to get you or search for you, or even just arrest you, so they can get you in for questioning. Anything around that time frame, if you committed any crimes or if they can line anything up, they can hit you with 15, 20 charges. But the main goal is to focus on 1 or 2 charges that they know is going to stick and then try to get all of those other charges collectively on the back of it. Because now they can run them, hold on one second. I think concurrently, pardon me, it's consecutive and concurrent. They can run them back to back together. Back to back to back. So they can group them up and say, okay, we'll give you 1,000 years for these 15 charges. Or they could say, okay, for this one charge, you get 10 years. For count 2, you get 7. For count 3, you get 8. For count 4, you get 5 years. For count 20, you get 180 years. We've seen this happen before. And you'd be looking at the judge like, yo, why don't you just life? It could be silly as that. What are you talking about? So now, those counts can either go, you could serve one and then it could go back to back to back to back, or they could just bulk them all up together. That's how it goes. It's silly as hell, but those are the 2 things, consecutive and concurrently, right? The third case is the firearms, of course. So we can get them for conspiring to do the murder. We can get them for a murder for hire, which is someone got killed based upon the fact that there was money or words were exchanged, and there was money set on an individual's head, which is the term bounty, and you guys executed it. But even if you didn't kill the person that we allege that you tried to get, you still killed somebody. So that's in the commission of that, right? And then you have, How did you kill them? There wasn't no knife involved. If there was a knife involved, then they wouldn't be able to say firearms offense resulting in death. They would have to say a knife or a deadly weapon, which is a knife. They don't even say knife. They say deadly weapon. So the concerns alleged carrying and the discharge of a firearm, including a machine gun. So now here is where I'm really confused at. I'm 36 out of 40 on a shooting range. I've never been below 32, 33. I've never missed more than 6 or 7 hits. And that's out of 40. I'm talking 2 clips from an M16, A1 or A2 rifle, Connecticut factory, stock build, or Brooklyn. They usually build them in Brooklyn or Connecticut. They have 2 factories where they can build them. Most people don't even know this, right? Wow, I live in Brooklyn. There's a factory that builds a gun. You know how many people that don't know that? So, right, you give me a machine gun and you tell me to go on a mission, and I got 1 person to hit. It's 2 of them, but I hit the person I'm not supposed to hit. 18 rounds. 18 rounds. So hold on. How many rounds was let off from the machine gun? Because that machine gun alone could take out a few people. So you trying to tell me that y'all had a machine gun and y'all couldn't get the job done? Now, does this machine gun have semi, single round, automatic? Because one thing about me with 16, I like that 3-round burst. That 3-round burst, if you don't hit on your first or your second, you're gonna hit on that third, especially if you know how to aim right. You chipmunk cheek on the buck stock. You heard? If you gotta, they call it the chipmunk cheek. That's what the drill sergeants call it. Put the cheek on the buck stock, and you aim down at that target. You zero in on your target. Look through that front sight post. Tell me y'all niggas a machine gun and y'all didn't get Quando? Boy, what type of shooters do we got in this day and age now? Sammy got bodies. Greg Scarpo done took out 50 plus people on paper that they know of. And y'all couldn't even, and they had shit that was rusty back then. Shit that needed to be cleaned up and oiled after every use. And here we are in the 2000s, and we got machines that could print shit out. Owners that are making their own guns like Call of Duty. And y'all niggas had a machine gun and y'all couldn't get the job done. This is when you know if you just gotta tap out. Right, C double. Right. Yo, listen, the shooters, if y'all out there, any millionaires out there, y'all got that money, I know y'all gonna come across it, y'all gonna see it. I would suggest that y'all just don't leave the issues alone if you're not gonna put in the work yourself. It's okay. It's okay to take an L. Everybody has to take L's to know what it's like to win. Because once you finally get that win, you know what that win is like, right? You know what it's like. But come on, man. Are we really, are you really telling me that y'all had a machine gun and y'all missed? Y'all only hit 1 out of 2 people? So besides the machine gun, what other hammers was there? Because if it's 4, I'm gonna say, let's say it was 3 or 4 people, right? Let's say it was 3 or 4 people. Y'all trying to tell me that y'all had machine guns, automatics, handguns, and y'all didn't catch every target? So Durk is also facing racketeering. In 2026, prosecutors added additional Chicago-related allegations. See what I'm saying? Now, salute to C Double, because this is what C Double is talking about. He said, look, I feel like they're also trying to get Durk, right? They're trying to get him on something bigger than just this. And here it is. Here it is. The RICO and the racketeering charges. So we see that. We see that right here. Okay, so and that's the thing. Them Ricos, man. When them niggas start coming, when them devils start coming down on you for Ricos, boy, I'm glad I stay away from people. I'm glad I stay away from people and I stay to myself. Because half of the stuff that these people getting caught up in is, listen, the only time they see me with a large group of people is if I'm working. That's the most beautiful part about having will and control over your life and deciding what you want to do. Willfully making the right decisions on who you want to be around, where you want to be at, where you should be at, right? When you're done with work. I'm glad I stay to myself. You understand that? Because if I ever get into anything, the only time they ever gonna be able to say, yeah, we seen him with a large, he was with this, and that person, is at a battle rap event, a wedding, a birthday party, me filming a proposal on the golf course because my Asian client wants to surprise his wife, me doing curbside pickup because I got clients all throughout Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. You're not going to see me around a group of people unless I'm working. If I'm not working, you might catch me with my family. You might, maybe. But 9 times out of 10, we all in the crib. We don't care about nothing that's going on outside because we had fun already. I had plenty of fun in my younger life, plenty. And there's more to come, but I'm not so eager to get to it. This is why I don't mind being by myself. And something I always tell my son when he's out there, my son is young, he just turned 18, he got friends, so I understand. I always tell him, I know you out having fun, might be smoking your gas, right? Keep your back on the wall, listen more than you talk, and pay attention to everything and everyone around you. I tell him that every time. Every time. He's young, so I'm not gonna tell him, hey, stay in the house. I'm not gonna tell him that because my son is in the area where everybody knows me. And if they know me, they know my mother, they know my whole family. So, and most of the people where my son is at know how I give it up because I've made the news before. 2 times, I've made the news. Never an issue for me to make the news if I feel like I gotta stand on business. So that's why I'm okay with my son being the way he is. But I always keep him on point and tell him, keep your back on the wall and pay attention to everything around you. Listen more than you talk, especially if you know everything about everyone who's around you. Just sit back and listen. Especially if you don't know the people who are around you, sit back and listen. I can't tell you how many battle rap events that I've covered. As soon as the event is over, I'm gone. I don't care about what happened after the event. I don't care about what party I went to. I don't care about who's talking to who. How about that? And a lot of the times, people get upset because they want you to be nosy like them. They want you to care about what they care about. But in the back of your mind, you know you got too much stuff to do. So you don't even have the energy or the time to let the small bullshit get in your atmosphere and mess up what you got going on, your success process of what you plan on doing, right? But the Ricos is hard. But here it goes. C-Double was right. They're trying to get him. So Durk's lawyers argued that those allegations were added too late and would be fundamentally. So if you try to add in a RICO charge to a conspiracy, a murder for hire, and firearms charge, that changes the whole spectrum of the case. Because now it's like, hold on. Now the defense can argue, okay, so did you guys pick these crimes, right? Did y'all get these initial crimes and hold him for these crimes just so that eventually y'all could work out up to a RICO because this is what you guys originally wanted to get him for? See that, right? You see how that worked? Look how dirty these devils are, right? So they just now introduced the RICO in 2026. No, it's not gonna happen. Especially if he got Brian Still. It's not happening. So Judge Fitzgerald agreed to sever the new Chicago-related charges from Los Angeles murder for hire trial. You see that, right? The judge knew that that don't make sense. The judge is like, what are you talking about? You trying to have us here for the next year, nigga? The judge said, nah, y'all can't add no RICO charges. So that's a win for Durk's team. That's a shout out to you, brother. Allahu Akbar Arakatu. You heard? Shout out to all the Muslim brothers out there. You heard? God is great. You know what I mean? All 5%ers, NOI. You heard? Outside organizations. Yeah, I've been there. I understand. Shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to all the NOI brothers, the Muslim brothers. Shout out to all of y'all. All right? So they got rid of that. You're not about to sit here and try to add extra charges, especially not a RICO and racketeering, because the RICO and racketeering could supersede the murder, because that's the big dog. Now you do the RICO and racketeering. Do you know how many other people you would have to potentially pull in on a RICO and racketeering charge? Forget Durk and the shooters. Now you're gonna have to track the money and see where all the money went, whose hands it touched. Now you can pinpoint each person that money's hands touch, who spent the money, and say, hey, you gotta come in for questioning. Of course, that line stops eventually with the money, because now it starts crossing over from dirty hands. The dirty blood money goes from being dirty blood money, and eventually once it starts touching the 9 to 5's hands, it becomes clean money. This is why they have to track. They have to track the serial notes of the bills. They have to track the currency. This is why they have special agents to do these things. But being that the judge is smart, being that the defense is very smart, they knew that the prosecutor wasn't going to be able to just get away with that. Do you know how long and drawn out a RICO process would be at this point for Little Durk? Huh? They could pretty much, now the only thing about that RICO is they bring the RICO in, you could forget about the murder. Even though you could use the RICO and say this is why the murder was committed because he's at the top of the chart, but you might as well forget that. So now, here we go. Being that he severed that charge and he said, no, we're not adding that in, right? That means the current trial is focused on Los Angeles murder for hire case rather than having the jury decide all of those newer Chicago allegations at the same time. The only thing I don't like about this is, what if Durk gets off of this and they try to bring him back to Chicago and hit him? Oh man, I'll feel sick for him, man. Oh my God, I'll be sick for him, man. If he beats this and these devils try to bring him back to Chicago, I'll be hurt. I don't want to see no man in prison, especially when you got family and kids to take care of. We all have our dark sides. We all do things that we're not supposed to do. I have fought cases, fighting cases. It's life. It is what it is. I'm dealing with a case right now in Texas. Nobody would ever know about this case because I was by myself, but it's life. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I say I stayed in myself, because can't nobody tell on me, and I'm not telling on nobody. I can't do it because I know I gotta live with myself. You gotta live with yourself at night. You gotta sleep with yourself at night. So you know what you be doing. You know what your heart and your soul is okay with. And you also know what makes you feel away when you say to yourself, damn, I did bad, right? We know that. I don't want to see him go down. So he was arrested in October 2024. Yo, that's what I'm thinking too. He gonna have to win back-to-back cases, man. Because, bruh, if they're trying, if LA, right? He's in the Metropolitan Detention Center right now. If California is trying to add in a RICO, then come on, bro. They're trying to add in a RICO from charges that happened from shit that happened in Chicago. He's in Los Angeles Metropolitan Detention Center. Y'all are trying to add in shit from Chicago, from across the country? No. Automatically right there, that tells me, oh shit, they want me. But Durk knew that already though. The only thing is that this gives them a reason to go after him. So of course, they correspond. Los Angeles prosecutor office with Chicago's prosecutor's office. They correspond with each other. Of course, they share information. One really wants the big hit, but because they want him so bad, they probably shared information with him from Chicago just to get him. Well, the judge said, no, we can't do that. So yeah, CW, you're right. He might have to do back to back. He might have to fight back to back cases. So it is what it is. So yeah, October will be 2 years since Durk been locked up. The timing became part of the government's argument. According to prosecutors, investigators learned that Durk had multiple international flights booked shortly before his arrest. They're basically trying to say that he might have tried to flee country. He was arrested near Miami International Airport. The government portrayed that evidence as him trying to leave the United States. Now, if he wasn't, if he didn't have a warrant out for his arrest and he didn't have anything going on where it said he had to appear in court or he had to turn himself in, why wouldn't he be able to leave the country? This is why I say the prosecutor's argument is weak. For most people, it would seem strong. Oh my God, see the comment, oh, they're gonna cook Durk. Durk is done. I believe in him getting off because I already know. Like I said, when it comes to these devils, they don't really know our culture like that. They only know what we tell them, what we explain to them, what we break down to them and show them. And even then, it still may not be enough because they're not us. And we have a language, we have languages that they will never understand. That's why the Haitians that's why the Haitians were able to beat them and take over their land at that point with Toussaint Louverture. Why? Because we created a language that white people couldn't understand. We broke our own language so they couldn't understand what we were saying so we could win a war and win and rebel against the slave master. Come on, man. Come on, man. What's wrong with y'all niggas, man? You know, I got ways that I talk to my kids nobody would understand. I say certain words to my son, he gets it. I say certain words, they get it. My mom, there's certain words that I would say nobody will understand. There's a word called Aggie Malaggy. When I say Aggie Malaggy, nobody knows what that means except a few people. If I say Aggie Malaggy, you don't know what that means. I know what it means. Why? Because I use Spanish, I use Pig Latin, and I use my own method of how I can merge words. Just so people around me won't know what I'm talking about. We could be in a crowd full of people and I say Aggie, nobody would know what I'm saying. Moving on. How did the case get delayed so many times? Of course, evidence. I could tell you that from personal experience. And not only that, from personal experience, a lot of the times, if a court is backed up with major cases, your case can be delayed. But here, that's not his case. He is the case. He is the major case of LA right now. And as much stuff has been going on. New York, Knicks winning the ring, even though that was rigged. LeBron going to Philly, that's rigged because Philly's home of the Black Boule. Man, so many things have happened in the last 2 years. So many things. People have passed away. We lost a few good people. So many things have happened. But that evidence, the discovery, the digital evidence, co-defendants, cooperating witnesses, that pushed everything back. That means that throughout the course of these last 24 months, just when they thought they had enough evidence, somehow they found more. Whether they found themselves or whether one of Durk's peoples gave them that evidence. Or if one of Durk's enemies gave them that evidence. I want to see him get off, to be honest with you. The biggest recent controversy came when prosecutors added Chicago-related allegations shortly before the scheduled trial. Durk's attorneys argued that they prepared for one case for many months and were suddenly being forced to defend against a substantially expanded case. Right? So, Durk was the architect of revenge operation targeting Quando. The defense's basic message, Durk is being falsely betrayed as the mastermind, while there are other people, including Grant, who were actually responsible for organizing what happened. Now, this is what's so crazy in the courtroom. In order for Durk's defense to win this case for him, they have to use what the cooperators are saying against them. And this is why I said, when you're dealing with jury, you have to look at the people that you're dealing with. Are you okay with this man being accused for a murder, even though the prosecutors know that they committed the murder? Are you okay with them walking away today? Jurors are not gonna like that. No regular person is gonna be okay with that. What? They're alleging that he paid them to kill somebody, but they're gonna walk out free right now if we say he's guilty? No, people are not okay with that, because now you just turn in one. You're turning in one animal, so you can let 5 go free. That's how I would think about it if I was the average citizen. If I was the average civilian, that's how I would see it. So they're all murderers, but you're gonna let all of them go just so you can get this guy. Well, why do you want him so bad? Because he has money. But mind you, the same people that are trying to lock you up and get you, they're behind the scenes financing hip hop. They're putting money into hip hop. It's nuts. The good part about this is that they can't give Durk the death penalty. Federal prosecutors have said they will not seek the death penalty in this case. They just want time, right? However, if convicted of the charges carrying the applicable statutory maximum, Durk could face life in prison. So the stakes against him, they're enormous. It's tough, you know. He could do life. He could do life. So what happens next is our government has indicated a substantial witness list. A lot of us are shocked at that because we're saying, damn, where did this come from? And what happens now is it makes you wonder who's telling on him. Like who's talking? Who's doing all this talking? It's gonna make everybody wonder, like why would Durk have to worry about a substantial list of people cooperating, right? Hold on a second. I would be, listen, man. One second. Looking for my gas. The government indicated earlier reporting saying they have approximately 35 witnesses, with around 20 expected to provide substantive testimony, although the complete witness list has been kept under wraps. So we're not gonna fully know who is on that list unless somebody leaks it somehow, or basically we just continue to watch and just pay attention. We're not gonna know everyone who's cooperating, which sucks, because, you know, for the sake of Durk, that'll help. You know, like I said, these dudes cooperating. If the government doesn't put them in witness protection, somebody's gonna get them in jail, or somebody's gonna get them on the street. Yeah, they're gonna try to do that as much as possible. I mean, there's nothing we can really. It's bad enough that people don't stick together already, but that's what they're gonna do. The population control is real, absolutely. They're absolutely trying to control. But listen, man. Y'all leave y'all questions, comments. Make sure y'all subscribe. Hit that like button. I'm not really, you know, a nigga be busy, so So much stuff that I want to do, things that I'm trying to do and get done planning. So I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna keep y'all posted on these things. Come back, chop it up with y'all. But yeah, love, life, and loyalty is the motto. Stay safe, stay real, and stay true. You rock with me, I rock with you. Miss Trisha's son.